Hallowed are the places of small sacrifices. The first time I became aware of child sex slaves was when I was working as a mercenary and had some downtime. I had a habit of hanging out in front of coffee shops in third world countries where I could watch raw life pass by. It was sort of like my way of meditation, not having to think or do, just be. The place that I chose this time was Cambodia, far from any tourist area. I would sit for hours and hours just drinking coffee and smoking cigars. I called it my incense and holy water. The streets and life was my temple. This was the only place where I actually felt safe. Then one day I started to notice something that did not fit. Foreigners coming and going to and from places. They were not part of the pattern, and I could not place them in this picture. I guess you could call it that I had a not so good feeling about what I was seeing. They really stood out in these places. Soon it got my curiosity running. I wanted to know what was the attraction for these foreigners. Day and night, I would see these foreigners walk into alleys, sometimes accompanied by young boys. One night, I decided to follow one of these guys. It took me down several alleys and to a house with obvious guards in front. As I passed by, a boy about the age of 14 approached me and wanted to take me inside. I pulled away roughly because he had a good hold on me. As I did, he said, "You want girl? Have good time? Very cheap, very cheap." He got my attention, so I asked, "How young?" and he motioned to the height of his hip. Without stopping to think about it, I asked, "Virgin?" He said, "Yes, yes." I had to leave before I had time to think about it and get in trouble. So I left this place and went back to my hotel. I lay in bed, not able to sleep because I was thinking about what I had just witnessed. I was having a hard time accepting this as real. The next day came early, and I took my place in front of the coffee shop. Everything looked different because of what I knew now. I wanted to leave this place because it was not comfortable anymore. It was disturbing. Then I saw across the street a priest with some goons with him. They were all looking directly at me. I got the impression they had grouped me in with the other foreigners I had been watching. Security and protection was my trade, so I positioned myself in a way as I saw them approaching directly at me. I acted like I did not notice them, till they were upon me, and I turned to the priest and said to him, "Father, I have been looking for God, and here you are." I could tell it took him off guard. After the shock wore off of him, he began to tell me he had seen me and knew what I was doing here. I let him talk a while. Then I told the truth of who I am and what I'm doing. I learned that they had been making plans to raid this brothel and save kids. I asked him about the plans and soon realized they were all going to get themselves killed. They had no idea what they were doing or were about to do. I gave the priest a little more detail about who I was and offered to help them. He easily accepted my offer. I had just found through circumstance a way to channel my anger about what I had witnessed and maybe feel like I did something about it. So the day comes to save the kids from the brothel. Bring yourself back. Get everybody out of the danger area. We entered. All went as planned. We were looking for 14 kids, and not all had been found. The priest came in and knew where they were, in the walls, the ceiling, and trap doors on the floor. As we were leaving, one little girl, about 4 years old, sat in the middle of the floor crying. She looked at me, and I grabbed her on the way out. She kicked and screamed, not knowing I was a good guy. We made our way out the back door, the one that we had made, and into a waiting van. I did not look at the girl for fear of scaring her more. Later, I took off my mask and noticed that she had stopped struggling. I turned to look at her, and she was already looking at me. As we looked into each other's eyes, I disappeared. Something happened to me at that very moment. I became somebody else, someone better. Only those who look with the eyes of children can lose themselves in the object of their wonder. The words I speak of so much became real. When something bad happens to people, they say, "Why did God allow this to happen?" And what I hear in my head is, He just gave us the opportunity that we came here for, to be human. The whole reason that we are here is to give a hand to someone who needs it and to receive a hand when we need it. On this day, I received that hand. From that day on, from the shadows, I did this work more and more as I could. It possessed me and became my obsession to save just one more kid. I did this over and over again. One day, though, the rescue did not go as planned, and people got hurt. Real hurt. In the end all sense, you know. That day I walked away. I can't do this anymore, I thought. It's bigger than me. I did not get very far, and a Buddhist temple appeared to me that I had not been aware of before. I fell to my knees, and I collapsed both mentally and physically. I wanted to die in that very moment. It was over. As the darkness enveloped me inside and out, I felt a hand placed on my shoulder. I looked up, and standing above me was the priest that had been with me on this rescue. He knelt down and looked into my eyes, much the same way the little girl did on my first rescue. He spoke softly and said these words, "You can't run into a closet and lose yourself in guilt. You acted on this evil. It was not your evil, but you joined this evil, and you accepted the actions. Now live with the responsibility. It has scarred you. It will eat at you forever, and it should. But you have found the reason to be who you are. Now you have work to do that you care about, and people are depending on that. Don't lose yourself. Don't quit. Because now it is not just you that you will quit on." With that, the light and the warmth filled me, and I did not quit. I broke the shadows and created the quest. Now I ask you today, who are we but children? All of us. It is only a perception that we are anything else. Without children, we are without us. Stand with me. Don't look away from the truth. And don't think, I am only one person, and what difference can I make? I am one person, and I save one at a time. Every time a person joins me, we save more. We feed more. We heal more. We love them, and they change us. They teach us, and they love us. We are an army that cannot be defeated. We are the quest.